you know, we still need the stories, whether we read modern novels or not. It's like, you know, we need that connection, whether it's with our elders or with our kids. You know, we pass these stories on as something precious. For me personally, it's probably just the unknown, you know. I've always been drawn more to the unknown and whatever the beyond of normal life. So I would actually go out and look for these. You know, we would go to haunted houses. We would go to haunted areas of the cities. See what was going on, you know? Yeah, now, whatever that comes from, I don't know. But it kept life interesting.
It was almost like an escape.
Definitely an escape. Family life was not a happy life. So that was an escape, definitely.
Hey, welcome to the Floaties for Krakens podcast. I am your host, Camille Maria Costa, and it is a brilliant day to be monstrous. Well, hello, Cuttlefish. Welcome back to our incredible, beautiful, amazing Pride Month special, Lavender for Monsters. Yay, I'm so happy you're here for our second episode of the Super Pride special, and also season 2, episode 15 of our entire season. Welcome. Hi. I hope you all are doing well. How's your June going? How's your Pride Month going? I hope everything is going so incredibly lovely. Yeah, it's the start of summer. How do we feel about that? Hopefully the sun rays are giving you some positivity and you're eating some good snacks, because that's important. But welcome. So thrilled to introduce our next guest. What an incredible superhuman, an individual that has done so much, I think, for the folklore community, and also kind of exploring the worlds of online technology in terms of the folklore world. And I think it's so exciting to have them on the show. We actually had their better half in the folkwise world on our show earlier this season as well, Daisy Allstone. But now introducing the second half of the folkwise team, Dr. Tom Tartaglia. I cannot believe it. So exciting. Dom is so lovely and so incredible and was such a joy to talk to on the show. And I'm so lucky that we got to have Dom. But yeah, Dom, if you don't know Dom, which I doubt, because super popular guy, is the Florida State folklorist, and also the director of the Florida Folklife program, which is freaking amazing. And Dom also with the co-founder, Daisy Allstone, they both co-founded Wise Folk Productions, which of course includes the amazing Folkwise show. So if you all have not seen Folkwise, you have been living under a rock, and I don't mean to be offensive to you, but it is just an incredible show. It is such a good show, and it intersects, it's just the amazing worlds of folklore, in a place that kind of makes it more accessible to understand for people, which I really appreciate. I think the world of academic folklore is so important. I wouldn't have known that I could get into this field without taking folklore classes and getting my master's in folklore, but sometimes it can be intimidating. Sometimes it can feel, I don't know, unachievable, unobtainable at times, and I feel like Folkwise is one of those few shows that makes you, like, holds your hand and walks you through kind of that journey and that path. And that's so special, and it's so few and far between. So yeah, they're both great freaking individuals, and we are just so happy and so thankful that Dom agreed to be on our show. And what an incredible conversation we have for you today. A couple of trigger warnings though, just so that we're all aware, there's a lot of discussions of kind of explorations of the Catholic faith and religion in general, also kind of exploring mental health in those worlds, both young and old. You know, the states of depression, anxiety, and also kind of understanding who you are as a queer youth as well. So yeah, we get into some pretty deep talks, but I think you know, it was very important, and it was so funny, and we just had such a great time chatting with each other. There was also an incredible technical difficulty that happened, of course it did, on my end with my internet, so get ready for that fun spectacle. Let's just say Dom stole the show, and Dom, you know, will probably be the interim host for Floaties for Krakens if anything ever happens. Hopefully it doesn't. Knock on wood, everybody. But yeah, just Dom, you're incredible. You're changing the world of folklore. And I'm so excited. I'm so excited for your future and what you have to give to the state of Florida and beyond. But yeah, let's continue this amazing pride-filled Lavender for Monsters special. Ladies and Cuttlefish, let me introduce to you Steak and Shake for Beasts. Well, hi again, Dom.
Hey.
How are you?
Pretty great. Pretty excellent.
That's excellent. Oh my gosh, I don't hear people saying that they're doing excellent enough.
I am doing fine. I last night hosted like a my favorite kind of hangout, like a 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. party. And then I did dishes and just sat in my backyard, and I was like, that was a great day. So I'm still coasting on a great yesterday.
What a beautiful Saturday. That's like, I think you're adulting. You're adulting at its finest.
Couldn't be me.
I mean, you are. You're literally, congratulations on your new home. Like, that's so exhilarating.
Thank you.
I mean, a lot of people can't say that. So I think it's really, really cool that you're doing it. You're doing the thing.
You said congratulations on your new home, but I really heard like working 2 jobs last semester was worth it.
Working 2 jobs, crying into my Cheerios bowl.
It was less crying into my Cheerios bowl, but I'm just like, at the end of all this, I just like looked at my belly. I'm like, when did that happen? Oh yeah, I remember. It was all the pretzels for 3 months. It was all the stress pretzels.
Stress pretzels are real.
No, stress pretzels are how I make it.
Yeah. You have to like thank them in your will. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You need to like donate a part of your human sustenance to Snyder's Pretzels.
I thanked the Steak and Shake on in Bloomington in my dissertation. Like, I almost exclusively wrote my dissertation at the Steak and Shake.
That's amazing.
Yeah. They're open until 5 a.m.
Right.
Coffee, bottomless cup of coffee for 99 cents. And I just rolled up. Everyone knew me. I just rolled up at like 11. I would type from like 11 to 3, 4 or 5 days a week. And I would just like roll up with my cup of coffee typing, you know, and everyone knew me.
Dom, that's sick. That's crazy.
You just gotta like when you're that deep into your dissertation, you just gotta like find the one crazy thing that only you can do to get it done. And yeah, my Steak and Shake until 3 a.m. What's the
Steak and Shake? I got it done. Please sponsor Dom.
Steak and Shake if you're watching.
I don't know why, but if you are,
Mr. Shake.
Please give Dom all your money because he clearly gave you all of his.
No, and really, I didn't. Like I said, 99 cents for a bottomless cup of coffee.
That's really
They closed. They closed like between me turning in my dissertation and getting my like hood. They closed, and I was like, "This is terrible."
Because you weren't going anymore.
Maybe. Dom. I stopped writing at Steak and Shake. I was keeping that place open. The Steak and Shake on what 46 and 37 Indiana gang, you'll know. The one that used to be by the College Mall next to the Baha'i church or Baha'i temple or whatever. That was my spot next to the Panera Bread.
God, that's so iconic. That's really cool. Oh my God. But I expect nothing less from you than iconic
Camille.
Iconic shit, Dom. So But okay, so I know you, but for people that may not know you, Dom, who are you? What do you do?
I'm Dom.
Mhm.
I'm Dr. Dom Tartaglia. No, Dom is one syllable, and that's what everyone refers to me by. Let's see. I am the state folklorist for the state of Florida. That means I
Mm.
am the Florida's official tradition recorder. And I also put on the the stage at the Florida Folk Festival with all the live art demos, which is
Yes.
the like kind of like my finals week every year.
I love it.
And I'm also one of the hosts of Folkwise, which friends of Floaties will know as the show Daisy Allstone is also on. So ever since like 2021, since like first week of February 2021, Daisy and I have been hosting Folkwise Live on Twitch. We've been making Folkwise videos together on YouTube since 2020.
Oh my gosh, that's so sick. Oh my god. And I know Daisy spoke about this a little bit when they were on the show, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious from your perspective, how did Folkwise come to be?
Taylor Swift.
Oh my god.
It's Taylor Swift. I know Daisy probably gave the rehearsed media training answer about we're a group of folklorists who like to think about tradition non-traditionally, you know.
That's exactly it.
But
That's
I'm just
exactly
like,
what
no,
they said.
Taylor Swift folklorists coming out and no one had a video ready. Uh, yeah. So, and don't look at that video because it's been like review bombed to hell by Swifties.
Has it really?
Well, yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. I don't want to like get in any more fights with Swifties than I have to.
That's fair.
I understand that the sort of emic understanding of Taylor Swift movies, Taylor Swift music. The emic understanding of Taylor Swift music is that like all of this is like her like decoded journal, and you have to like it pays off to listen to every song and understand
Right.
like her autobiography that she's like producing in code.
Right.
And our video was not that. Our video was like we all have degrees in folklore. What folklore does this make us think about? And Swifties hated it.
Right.
Academics liked it.
Wow. I'm surprised that Swifties hated it.
I don't know. They couldn't have hated my section because my genre was autoethnography.
Oh my god. I mean, come on, right?
Last Great
That's
American Dynasty. That was the song I focused on.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
It's
crazy.
cool. It's a sense of place. It's
Oh my god.
Anyway, no, that video, we did that video. We did a video about Cincy Chili,
Oh hell yeah.
which is one of my favorite topics. You probably know, living in Kentucky, you probably know a little bit about
Oh, so much. So many
Skyline.
people love it.
Do
Yes,
you
Skyline.
get Dixie Chili in Western Kentucky?
I've never heard of Dixie
Okay,
Chili.
that might not go south of like Florence.
Okay.
But Dixie Chili is yeah. Northern Kentucky has Dixie Chili, which I'm gonna like go out on a limb and like no, I'm saying this. I'm saying this, okay?
I'm
If
ready.
you're going to one of the chains, number one, if you're the number one Cincy Chili priority should be like someone's aunt's homemade chili, or like my
Right,
friend
sure.
John Gideon's mom's chili. That you know what I
Always.
mean? Like that's your
Always.
number one Cincy chili.
Right.
Or you should be going to like a hole in the wall, like a one of one, like a Camp Washington chili, like a Pleasant Ridge chili. You should go to like one of those like bespoke diners that serves like chili and eggs in the morning. You know what I mean?
Ooh, yes.
But if you're going to go to a chain and people are going to have this fight about Gold Star and Skyline, like what's the better chili chain from Cincinnati, you're just gonna cross the Ohio River, go to Northern Kentucky, and get Dixie Chili. Because if you're gonna have chain chili, Dixie Chili in Kentucky is the best one.
Right.
Yes, and
Good
they
idea.
do, and they do a secret sixth way with raw garlic on top. So you kind of just like you're going home after that. You're like I'm not like allowing myself to be in public with garlic and onion breath, but
Yeah, and all the chili I just consumed.
I'm also being very nice to Dixie Chili because when Daisy went there in the Dixie Chili video, they hooked them up. It was crazy.
Really?
Yeah, they're Daisy like emailed ahead like, "Hey, I'm making a video about chili. Can I come into your building?" They were just like, "What time will we be there? We will meet you. We will give you free samples." You know?
That's so
Yeah,
sweet. Shout out.
yeah. Shouts out
Oh,
Dixie Chili in
yeah,
Newport
come
on
on.
the Levee.
I love this. I love that we've only spoken like no more than 10 minutes and we're already dropping like all of these food chains that have like made it possible for Dom to be here.
I lived 1 year in Kentucky. I have to shout out
Yeah.
the Commonwealth.
Right, always.
I lived
Always.
in Kentucky. I lived in the Cincinnati suburbs, but
That's so cool.
I worked in Florence. It was wildcat country. You know what I mean?
Of course it
Yeah, it was
was.
crazy.
Dang. That's
Anyway,
crazy. But that's how,
this is not an episode on chili.
dang it. Imagine how hilarious that would be though. So Dom's monster is chili. I
Yeah,
can't wait.
my monster is Cincy Chili, specifically that like 2014 Deadspin article where they ranked like the 51 greatest state foodways, and number it was like all the states in DC, and then number 51 was getting hit by a car, like the act of getting hit by a car. And then under getting hit by a car, it was number 52, Ohio, Cincy Chili. And like those Deadspin writers have like a fatwa from Cincinnati. Like they cannot set foot in Cincinnati or it's on site. You know what I mean?
My,
Yeah.
that's bold.
They called it diarrhea slop. And a lot of people are like, "You've only ever had it at a chain, you filthy casual."
Yeah.
You wouldn't
Come
be able to come
on.
into Camp Washington Chili and say that.
That's insane. That's messed up.
I
Oh my,
know. Offensive.
that's really rude.
Yeah. How is
What
it
the
any
hell?
worse than a friggin' Juicy Lucy or a Sloppy Joe or any of America's great traditions of beef slop? Okay?
Exactly.
Half
just-
of those were just fucking beef slop.
It's
And they're
just
like,
in a
Cincy
different
Chili
format.
worse. No.
That's stupid. That is so low. Oh my god.
I know.
Please.
I know.
Please. Well, that's maybe in the behind the scenes episode we'll do an episode on on all of the demons that Dom has created through the lens of Cincy Chili.
I have like hexes on anyone who speaks ill of Cincy Chili.
Yeah.
Watch your back.
As you should. As you should. I
Yeah.
think that's your right. That's
Thank
your
you.
right.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Camille.
you're welcome. We agree. It's okay.
Yeah. But I don't want to do anything that'll date the recording of this episode, right?
Well, why? Go for it.
No, because
Who cares?
I'm thinking about this because we are cooking Cincy Chili on stream this Tuesday.
Are you really?
Yeah, we are with Kathleen from Nevada.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
This is a plug for a thing that has already happened.
Yeah, okay.
You'll be able to find it
yeah.
on YouTube. You'll be able to find it on YouTube.
Yeah, and people that maybe like if you haven't seen Folkwise or if you live under a rock and haven't seen Folkwise, then maybe you could possibly tune in and see what other fun stuff that they do.
Yeah,
pretty sick.
perhaps by the time this is out, it'll finally be Folkwise versus Floaties, and Camille and I will assemble crews. You ever seen a crew battle?
No.
Like a 5-on-5 Smash format where like it's like everybody has three to four stocks depending on like like what game you're playing, but everyone, let's say, has 3 stocks, and like the 2 first people play each other, and then the winner keeps the remainder of his stocks and plays the next person, and you go like down the line. You go down the ladder. Yeah. I'm saying we have to settle our Smash rivalry in a crew battle. We need to assemble Smash crews and get them on stream.
I'm so ready. That
would be great. It's one of Smash's great like folk forms. You know what I mean? Like the guy who started it said he was just like up late watching the tournament art of Yu Yu Hakusho, and he was like, "We do this in Smash."
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
And they always do it like when we would have tournaments when I helped run the Smash tournaments in Indiana, we would always have like Indiana versus Kentucky or like Midwest versus everybody. We'd always have like crew battles like at like the end of day 1. It was kind of like the reward for making it through a long day of bracket. You know what I mean?
That's sick. That sounds like so much fun.
Truly was.
Yeah, we should definitely play.
Yeah,
Oh,
let's, yeah, crew
100%.
battle. Let's
That
find our
sounds so
teams.
fun.
Let's recruit our
I
teams.
I feel like our team, Michael and Natalie would be so mad at me for signing them up for this, but I'm so excited. I'm so excited. It's okay. We can like round out the night with like a nice Animal Crossing visit.
Oh, yeah,
So
that's true. Yeah.
it's
You
fine.
seen Daisy's Island? They have
No.
a graveyard.
Of course they do.
They have a graveyard. I think, what do people like best on my island? Oh, I have a rock formation that I made a zone for positive masculinity, and it's called Dude's Rock. It's got a grill, it's got a jacuzzi, it's got a drink machine,
That's
it's got a dude's
stupid.
rock climbing wall.
It's so stupid, dog.
What? What? What about this is stupid? I'm teaching the next generation of dudes.
In the good way. In the good way.
Okay,
I feel
thank
like
you.
in that jacuzzi, like I feel like only people that know the iconic Vine, like just guys be a dudes, like should be
Yeah.
allowed to be in the jacuzzi. That's sick. That's amazing.
We sit close
Oh
to
my
that
God.
jacuzzi.
Yeah,
We sit close to that. I'm
exactly.
just telling you, we sit thigh to thigh.
Yeah, because it's safe.
Yeah,
It's
the
safe.
dude, the dude's craving in that jacuzzi with White Claws.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Yeah, we have to visit. That sounds fun.
Hell yeah.
That sounds really fun. Well, okay, Dom. So like what inspired you to like go into the world of like folk studies and things? What was it?
That's a good question. I was like an undergrad. I was like a dual major, anthropology and classics.
Oh,
And
okay.
I
Yeah.
wanted, and you know, I was like, now I speak Latin and have done archaeological field studies because I wanted to dig up Pompeii, and I like took classes with the guy who is currently digging up Pompeii,
Oh my
and
God.
there was a dark truth waiting for me at the end of my classical archaeology track, and it was no Romans are going to be alive to talk to you about it. I was just
Yeah.
piecing things together and trying to put words in people's mouths, and I'm just like, I wish there was someone on the other side of the hill who could tell me what all this stuff was, and it just seemed so lonely. I'm like such an extrovert. I realized like, okay, I'm doing the kind of stuff that's going to like stimulate like my brain, but like for my heart, I need to be around enthusiastic people, you know?
Yeah.
And eventually landed in folkloristics and doing a lot of stuff with festivals because I just want to be around crowds of enthusiastic people who are also learning about culture and art and all those things.
Yeah. That's beautiful. I guess, yeah, I never really thought about that idea of that specific line of work in anthropology as like lonely.
Yeah.
But it makes sense, right? And it's so fascinating to think about like all of these stories and personalities and ideas of human, right? Like it is kind of sad to think that they get lost. And you're not able to see them or learn about them in that way, you
Yeah.
know? That's so fascinating. And your extrovertedness led you to the world of
You might be able to piece that together, but
That's beautiful. That's so cool. That's so awesome.
and I think that's specifically what got me to public folklore too. Was
Oh,
that
yeah.
that I realized like I'm like I don't know, it was maybe like the things I was drawn to study some things at first, and then I realized like if I kept on with those like genres of folklore that I wanted to study, those forms of folklore I wanted to study, it would be a desk again, you know. And I'm like, I don't want a desk. I want to be around people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so
Oh,
like it's
100%.
kind of like halfway through grad school, I pivoted hard. I pivoted
Yeah.
hard just in order to like, you know, study festivals and do public folklore and be around the talkative, enthusiastic people.
That's so sick. So for people that maybe like don't know like the ins and outs of what it is to be like a public folklorist and stuff, like what do you do in your job, Dom? Can you explain what you do? And like also the festival that you've been working on too.
Oh yeah, I can lead to that. Let's see. So I guess like if you're thinking like what's a private folklorist, that's like an academic folklorist, like someone whose affiliation is with like an academic institution who gets like time off to write books or to do field work and has to like teach and do service or whatever like
Sure.
the tenure model is like. I'm public, meaning outside of the tenure model. I instead work for a state government. So I work in the Department of State for the state of Florida. So I run the Florida Folklife Program, which is a government program inside the Division of Arts and Culture, which is inside of the Department of State, like run by the Secretary of State. So I am like I'm a government bureaucrat of folklore, so to say.
Yeah.
But that gives me, if it I don't know how to say this. It's kind of like it has not given it does not like afford the sort of like independence of if you land a sweet academic job and you can kind of do whatever you want as long as you are producing. But I do have like a very satisfying yearly schedule, and I am on like a very regimented like year plan, and I just get to get better and better at it every year. So I'm always doing field work. I'm doing field work like half the year, and if I'm not doing field work, I'm doing meetings in order to set up field work later in the year. I'm always doing field work, getting money from the NEA to do I say field work, but to do like qualitative ethnographic research with people. And usually based around like some sort of theme that we set, that we tell the NEA we're going to do when we ask them for money. And I do all the research and like within a year, all of that research goes on to be the theme for the next year's folklife stage at the Florida Folk Festival. So the artists I am bringing out to the Florida Folk Festival in 2024, those are the people I interviewed in 22-23.
Wow.
We also give out several awards and grants a year, a big one being the apprenticeship program. And that runs on like an 8-month, it's like an 8-month intensive study with like a master artist and a new student. And their final project is to perform at the Florida Folk Festival. This year we've got what do we got this year? We got Haitian food. We've got Mayan lace, like Mayan weaving. Oh, Mayan weaving, I should say. Mayan weaving, yeah, like linen. We've got Greek folk songs and Irish folk songs.
So cool.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh my God. And like, yeah, like also congratulations on pulling that together, because holy crap, a festival in and of itself.
Yeah.
My goodness. My goodness.
That the current director of the festival is retiring this year after like a very long career, and they're going to be looking for a new director of the Florida Folk Festival. So if you are watching this and you think, hey, I have like a recommended a master's in public folklore and I would love to run a festival, don't even DM me. Just like make enough noise loud enough and I will find you. Come be my counterpart.
You need to email Dom and say what your feelings are about Cincinnati chili.
Yes, yes. I don't care what it is. I just need an enthusiastic response.
That's all.
Yeah,
that's it, and then you'll get the job. So
I'm not saying that. I can't guarantee that.
Legally, for the state, we cannot say that. But
we cannot promise that.
Right. That's so crazy. And so that festival premieres the end of this month, right?
It's this month. It's Memorial Day weekend every year. Yeah.
Memorial Day weekend every year. Mm-hmm. Holy moly.
And it is America's longest running folk music festival. It's like year 74 or something this year.
God, 74.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Friggin' Sarah Gertrude Knott was like the original director. That's like a name we learn in class. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I love that that's like the equation of saying that somebody's, it's a little old.
You wrote that name when you got your master's in folklore, you wrote that name down and then forgot about it. That's how old it is.
That's literally how old it is. And that is so commendable. I mean, you know, like we get people all the time that like ask the Folklife program in Kentucky, right? Like what happened to the Kentucky Folklife Festival and like all of this stuff. And it's like, well, number one, funding, right? That's like a really big thing. And it people don't realize how much manpower it takes to run a festival like that.
Yeah.
So for you all that are keeping it alive and doing your best, like that's so amazing. Like that's really, really cool.
Regarding the funding, I think in like the 90s when like the NEA was getting like slashed,
Yeah.
the Florida Folk Festival almost folded.
Oh,
And there was like an article in like the Tampa Bay newspaper
yeah.
in like February or so that said like could be the last year of America's longest running folk music festival. And then just one guy wrote a like hundreds of $1 million check to keep it afloat. And that man was George Steinbrenner, owner of the New York Yankees, because they were doing spring training. And he was like, I love folk music. I was like in Greenwich Village for the folk song revival. I know these performers. Like, what do you mean they're gonna close? So he like one billionaire wrote a check and kept it alive. So George Steinbrenner, I know you're deceased. I don't know what you actually sounded like. I just know Larry David playing you on Seinfeld. But thank you so much.
That's so stupid. Oh my god. Yeah, thanks. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
I like that story though, because it is like no, I don't know. People, I know a lot of people like on the fundraising side of things are always like, oh, you want me to like appear on behalf of folklore in sackcloth and ash, and I'm just like, you don't have to take it that far, but like someone out there doesn't realize how bad they want like folk music to keep going, because it is like one of those when I sometimes I tell people about what I do and they're like, oh, that's fun, and then they like every now and then someone will just be like, oh my god. You know, it'll click.
Yeah.
It'll click. That like critical nostalgia button will go off in their brain and realize how much they love their mom's Peter, Paul, and Mary albums, or for Florida, the Buena Vista Social Club, and they'll just be like, "Oh, you mean that's what it is in the Florida Folk Festival? It's like half white guy with a cowboy hat, half Cuban music."
You know,
yeah, exactly.
That's so amazing. That's so wild. People, man.
Yeah.
Oh my god. That's crazy. That's so wild. And you know, just FYI, everyone, support the arts.
Yeah.
Please.
Tell your rich friend to be an angel investor on behalf of the arts. If you don't have a rich friend, just send it on the line until it gets to the owner of a baseball team.
Yeah, like just pass it on down, okay? Yeah. Like play a piece of music that they remember, and then tell them to please fund everything. That's amazing. That's so crazy.
So yeah, greetings from the great state of Florida, the home of Gamble Rogers, the home of Gloria Estefan, the home of etc. etc.
We love I know Florida is complicated, and like many of our states are.
Oh yeah.
But I think that's what's so beautiful about the work that you all are doing, right? Is like you're showing how powerful and amazing the folk life is. I don't know. I just think it's great. It's great work.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, you know, navigating if I were navigating a bureaucracy in like any state this big is just gonna be complicated, you know?
Of course.
Yeah. It's like
impossible.
the whole first year was just me taking notes, like next year start that conversation a month earlier. That was like everything I did in my first year.
Yeah.
Just, you know what I mean? You got to be on the front of people's minds because those decisions in state government fall like dominoes.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
You got to play a game.
Yeah.
You really do. You
gotta I think my two keys for anyone who wants to get in this line of work, one, like Camille is alluding to, is learn how to be the weirdest player in the game. Like, don't try to break the rules. Try to be the most unusual player, and B, if something goes wrong, don't tell anyone else until you're 100% sure you need help. If you can fix it on your own, shut up and fix it, and no one will notice.
Yeah, no, that's really good advice. I think that's really good advice. And you just have to. You learn how to be a real intense person. Survival.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, you gotta do it. You gotta do what you gotta do. Gosh. Okay, so then Dom, how do the spookiness or the worlds of the spookiness fall into play here?
Catholicism. Catholicism is a spooky religion.
God, it is. Yeah, it is.
We're so obsessed. All the sects of Christianity have angels, but like,
yeah,
I think Catholics treat their demons with such respect. You know what I mean? They're just like, no, the good guys need comparable bad guys, and we can't shut up about them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think my journey into the aesthetically spooky comes from my my very Catholic upbringing. Hearing talk of demons as much as I heard talk about like angels. You know, like I heard like as much like guardian angel as I did like oppressing demon. You know what I mean?
Of course.
And you know, like priests dressed like they're at a goth bar. I mean, just even like people will be like, oh yeah, it's a Catholic cross, and I'll always be like, it's a crucifix, and they're like, what's the difference? I'm like, one of them, it shows God dying for you, like an open wound in his side.
Yep,
that's the difference.
And everyone has one in their pocket at any
given around their neck.
Around their neck, tattooed on their body. Like,
yeah,
it's real.
I remember when my dad was like, after my parents got divorced, and my dad was like, you know, putting his own personal touch around the house. I remember him being like standing in the breakfast nook, like, I'm gonna get a crucifix right there, the bloodiest one I can find. And it was just like, that was a normal thing for a man to say.
And you as a child, okay.
Yeah, I was just like,
all right.
That was one of the first times I'm just like, do I need to unpack that?
No, put it away for later, for 10 years down the line.
Every year in undergrad, like I was an undergrad during like the Saw movies. I think my senior year of undergrad was Saw 3D and Paranormal Activity 1. And so Paranormal Activity kind of replaced Saw as like the every year horror movie installment franchise. Oof. But like that means when I was an undergrad, it was like Saw 4, 5, 6, 7. And every time my friends and I were going to see a like the new Saw movie, we would like binge all the previous Saws. Because like, say what you want about that, like that show, that series being dumb, the continuity was meticulous.
Yeah, they
And I think at one point, I think I was seeing this girl, and she came over to watch the Saw movies with us, and she was like wincing from the gore, and she was like, this is so much fun. And someone was like, you're having fun. And I think I just made the connection. I'm like, she's Catholic, I'm Catholic. Like, before we ever see a horror movie, we learn about all the saints who have had the stigmata. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Gaping wounds and gore have been a part of my childhood, like since I was old enough to like ask like critical questions about like what they're saying in church. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like so ever since I was little, I have had a healthy fascination, especially with gore, through my Catholic upbringing. And
that's so crazy.
Camille, this is probably the point. This is probably the point where I should tell you, when I was a boy, and people asked like, what do you want to be when you grow up? I didn't say priest. I said cardinal. Like, because I wanted the all red outfit. I wanted that to be my everyday clothes. So I would tell everyone I want to be a cardinal of the Catholic Church. That was like the first thing I wanted to be when I was a little boy.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Dang, Dom. You were in it.
I was in it. I had all types all types of priests as mentors and kind of like
Yeah, yeah.
spiritual like advisors. We would always have priests coming over for meatballs on Sunday. You know what I mean?
Wow.
When like shouts out to Father Whalen, who didn't make me a priest but did make me a scholar. I think he might have recognized something in me, and like I'll make him a PhD if I don't make him a priest. You know what I mean? But he did give me like a love of reading. You know what I mean? A love of like
Wow.
dissecting a text. So I'm I'm like very culturally Catholic and like very less rigorously practicing than I used to be. But like my
Sure.
dad's still very Catholic. When I go home for
Wow.
like the holidays, uh,
Yeah.
I'm always in church at least once. I mean, my dad goes like for some time he has gone like every day at least to Eucharistic adoration.
Wow.
Yeah,
It's been in your life forever.
it's been in my life forever. That's right.
Oh my gosh. And I guess I had never really made that connection. You're absolutely right about that idea too of just like the intensity with gore and with horror just in general,
Yeah.
gothic horror, like this so many genres were introduced to us as soon as we were old enough to, blink. Like right away, right? Like that's what it was. These dark tales that were read to us in sermons or what have you, right at church. Did you I'm gonna pick your brain here. Did you go to like Catholic schools and stuff, or did you do any schooling in the church?
I went to Catholic high school. I moved a little too like late in the school year. Like we moved from New Jersey to Ohio at like an awkward point in the school year for me to get into the Catholic school.
Yeah.
For example, my oldest brother, like if he wanted to be in the marching band, had to like move a month ahead of us to like get to band camp on time. You know what I mean?
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
yeah. So I
Yeah.
was moving in a weird time and I couldn't get into the Catholic school. And like my little brother could have the next year, but they were like, okay, we'll just keep, and I think like the plan was we'll just keep them in public school until like high school. Because then also like,
Mm,
like the reputation of like a Catholic preparatory high school. You know what I mean?
yeah. Yeah.
So I
Sure.
went to a high school where you had to wear a shirt and tie and a sport coat every day. We had to take an entrance exam to get in. But
Yeah.
that also means I went to a high school where I started college as a sophomore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Super, super young.
shouts out to uh, St. Francis de Sales in Toledo, Ohio, my alma mater.
Wow. Wow.
Like go Knights. Knights of de Sales arise and battle bravely. Victory is ours. Anyway,
For a second, I thought you were gonna be like, "Go the Lord."
go go Christian warriors into the Holy
Hey,
Land or something. I don't know.
hey, there it is.
Yeah, there it
There
is.
it is. That's your
Yeah,
fight song.
I'm a proud alum of an all boys Catholic school.
Wow. That's amazing. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'm curious to see. We're just going right in it,
Do
right?
it, do
Like
it.
I'm really curious to see your relationship with the Catholic faith as you've grown older too, right? Like obviously little Dom, right, was like, I'm gonna be a cardinal one day. How has that ebbed and flowed, and like what are your views on Catholicism as you became
This
older,
is
you know?
complicated, Camille. This is
Oh, I know,
complicated.
I
You know,
know, I know.
there's a certain part of me that I can't fully divorce myself from Catholicism because it's so wrapped up in being not just Italian but being Italian American. You know what I mean? Like you
Yeah.
can't be like a Guido Episcopalian. You know what I mean? So as much as as much as uh my actual like practice and like belief has been challenged by a lot of things in my life, like my identity will always firmly be uh Catholic in like the very cultural signifiers of being Catholic, like like
Mm.
the like overeating at funerals and crying loudly and giving people grief. You know what I mean? All of those
Mourning.
things. Yeah,
Yeah.
all of those things. I'm like, that's
Hmm.
those are some things that are as they're Catholic, but they're as Italian as they are Catholic. You know what I mean? And
Mm.
I'm even though I'm basically a creaster now, uh, there are some things that are so part of my my ethnic understanding of an ethnicity that has been folded into whiteness like since my great grandparents like immigrated here. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So as like Italian, like now that post like colonialism, now that white is a thing that all Europe has access to, not just the colonial powers.
Right.
It's like I'm just, like they say, spicy whites. You know what I mean? Now I'm just like a white person who knows how to season food, and I'm like, okay, so I feel like I'm like, whatever, third generation, and I'm like, I
Mm,
want to hold on to these things that made my
mm.
family for centuries before we ever came to America and got uh like homogenized together with all
Yeah.
the European people, and like in
Oh
in
yeah.
many ways it's hard because like just you benefit from mass consumer culture. My like stack of my giant wall of X-Men comics right off camera can
Right.
can demonstrate that. My literal clothes made out of Adidas ads, but at the same time, it's like I have to hold on. I really find it important to hold on to all these little like Italian specific things, and so many of those are, especially in America, are wrapped up in Catholicism, that it's like I
Yeah.
can't fully ever get out of Catholicism because it would feel like getting out of Italianness, which is something I desperately want to hold on to and pass on for the rest of my
Yeah.
life. When I was in high school, uh, a couple of big things happened in the world. There was the long standing and terrible like sexual abuse in the Catholic clergy that I kind of stopped saying I wanted to be a priest because like to many people that
Mm,
sounded like I want to touch boys. It was never about that for me.
right.
Honestly, you know what it was about for me? It was about having a captive audience every Sunday. I mean, like, you
Mm,
know what I mean?
yes.
It was about having like people to address every Sunday. I wanted to be I wanted to be that people come to see talk. And I guess like now I have a Twitch stream. It's very low stakes. I'm not interpreting the word of God or anything, but I do have that audience. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
It was that, and then getting in high school and like realizing I really like girls, and then also realizing like, oh, maybe I like boys too. That I was like, okay,
Yeah.
maybe the clergy is not maybe the clergy is not calling to me after all. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And
Yeah.
I think I struggled to figure out like how I'm going to be Italian without being Catholic in my college years. But then as my like older
Mm,
siblings started getting married and having kids, and I became like an uncle,
mm.
then I was like, oh, I can be an Italian uncle easy. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah,
The
of
rest of this
course.
identity is way easier to manage when you are an Italian uncle.
Yeah. Gosh, it's wild to think how much of your cultural identity is wrapped up in religion.
Kind of like the
Um,
Vatican is right there. And what is speaking of the Gothic? What is the Vatican other than the world's greatest dilapidated manor? You know what I mean? Like you could walk by that and be like, this is
100%.
beautiful, and anyone would be like, if you could have seen this in the Renaissance, you would be floored. This is a pale, ghastly imitation of the splendor that used to sit on this manse. You know what I mean?
It's insane. Oh yeah, absolutely. What? Oh my God. It's so wild to see the parallels of those things, of two things you're passionate about, Dom. And I'm sorry that it was so complex and complicated because I don't know. I mean, it's already so tough being right, like Italian American in that way. I vibe with you on that front of being Mexican American and trying to connect and trying to keep that alive and trying to prove almost to yourself like, no, I'm still right, I'm still Italian. And I'm curious, if you don't mind me asking too, like, as you kind of were searching for your place, with your feelings of the church and things, like, what did your family think, or did you ever talk to your family about it?
Oh, yeah, that's complicated. I mean, like, uh, one of my siblings just doesn't do he's like very spirit, like I don't know, he's spiritual, believe
Yeah.
like, but I don't think he's been to church
Mm-hmm.
outside of a baptism in forever. Three of my other three siblings are, two of them are Greek Orthodox and one is like Ukrainian Catholic. So
Yeah.
three of them have gone back to older rites than Catholicism. You know what I mean? Which I
Wow.
also respect as a folklorist.
Yeah,
And
sure.
damn,
Yeah.
shouts out to the Orthodox. If nothing else, you got smells and bells, baby. But
Oh my god.
uh,
Stupid.
I don't know. With my dad is my dad is very Catholic, and in many ways, like I. You were just saying you're Mexican American. I think you can relate to this. Do you know people who are so Catholic they don't have like they just, their lens for analysis of the world just begins and ends at Catholicism. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So that's like a
Yeah.
lot, like not just him, but like many people in my family, whether it's Catholicism or or what. It's just like it's a, or just like, yeah, I don't know, being a Italian or whatever. But uh, it's it's certainly just like my family's like lens of examining the world, and my lens of examining the world, like especially after folklore PhD school, is just a little different. But we're all looking at the same place, so
Sure.
I don't really think it is. I think there's a lot less conflict than there was in my 20s about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I kind of feel
Yeah.
like there's I don't know. I kind of love in the Old Testament, like in the book of Exodus, how like Aaron warns Moses, like, hey, Pharaoh's got powerful magicians and his gods are strong. And I remember just like reading that and being like, everyone's got their own team. And I remember do you remember, and this is going to sound random, but you remember in 2021 when like, in like the fall of Kabul, when like we were pulling out of Afghanistan and like,
Oh,
and like the
yes.
Taliban was retaking Kabul. And I remember there was a Tumblr post that people were kind of laughing at. That like kind of went viral, of like being like all like the witch girls on Tumblr were trying to like put a curse on the Taliban, and some like elder millennial witch was like, this is a bad idea. If you go to the astral plane, Allah is way stronger than any other spirit you've
Oh
encountered.
my
And I remember
god.
reading that and being like, yes, they all had powerful gods in their team in the Old Testament. That's how it used to work. So
That's
I kind
how
of
it
at this
works.
point believe in all of them. I believe in all of
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how it used
Yes.
to work. Maybe
Yes.
I'm converting to Judaism, I guess, by the end of this. If I'm like, Exodus was peak, it didn't get better than that. The rest of the Bible.
It's a crazy thought though, right?
Yeah.
It is a crazy thought. And I mean,
The
I don't
Canaanites
know.
all had their own gods, you
Oh
know.
yeah.
The
Yeah.
the Babylonians all had their own gods. A lot of that
Yeah.
trickled over to the Israelites. But
Totally.
yeah, I don't know. That's kind of how I understand the world. Is that
Yeah.
I grew up in service of Jesus, and I don't think, for example, that every other deity in the world is Satan with a mask on or whatever. I learned in as a Catholic child, but I don't know. I do kind of, I'm respecting everybody's religion because I kind of think they're all real.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. And I mean, I don't know. I'm right there with you on like I mean, Catholic guilt is just so real
Yeah,
and
it's the
so
worst.
strong.
The shame
It's
involved.
so much shame. I
I
mean,
I I
that's
I second guess myself more than any human should, because like, and talking to like my girlfriend who is, she's not religious, but she's like ethnically Jewish, and she'll hear some of these things and just be like rewind, like, why do you have to, why is the first response like, I hate that I am doing this?
oh, uh-huh.
I'm like,
Mhm.
Catholic, I don't know what to tell you. The first response is, I hate that I'm doing this, but that's just how our
Yeah.
world
Oh,
works.
period. Yeah, exactly. Like that's just what you're raised to say and to think, and that you are just inherently the problem. Like you're
Yeah,
inherently you did something wrong.
yeah.
So you should feel that. You should feel that pain.
You can do whatever you
Um,
want as long as you are suffering on the inside.
suffer, suffer.
Yeah.
Like it's true, and that's
Even just like
so
the religion that invented purgatory as a concept, you know, you just be like all the other Christians are like, and by Jesus sacrificing his precious blood on the cross, and us accepting him in our hearts, we are all going to heaven. And Catholics like, okay, but you didn't actually
Okay, but
have a choice in that, so you're going to have to, like, you have like a debt you have to pay off before you go to heaven, and it's going to
yeah.
feel like millions of lifetimes, but you won't
Mm,
notice it.
nope. But you kind of will. But like, no,
Eh.
it's okay. It
have
sucks.
have your niece light a candle for you when you're gone.
It's so
Yeah,
sad.
you'll
Like,
get 10 years off your
God.
sentence.
God. And like I remember too, I mean, my mom, my dad reminds me a lot of you, Dom. Like he was born in Mexico, but like he grew really close with the Catholic Church because, life at home was pretty rough.
Hmm.
And there was a priest that he really took a liking to and almost became like a surrogate father in that way.
Yeah.
And they told him stories about like the Bible, and my dad knows it in and out and everything like that. But very similarly, like with me, right, you grow up and you learn about things, and there's a lot of hateful things that you see or hateful things that you hear within the church that are shocking and terrible. And it's so conflicting, because like, my mom, when my brother, let's see, my brother was in high school when he came out.
Hmm.
And my mom saw how quickly so many people turned on her and on our family.
Yeah.
And she was absolutely disgusted. Was absolutely like, oh, you know what I mean? And not to say this is the whole Catholic faith by any means, but like, it's
Eh.
I'm trying to be nice. But like it's it's really sad. It's really sad to see, and hurtful and just disgusting. And like I hated it for a long time because I just always felt terrible, and like, with the way they spoke to us and the way that they spoke about him in particular. So I left very young. I mean, I had to do, my mom told me, and I love my mom with every inch of my being, but she was like, you have to do Holy Communion, you have to finish confirmation. Once you finish confirmation, you're free to do whatever the heck you want to do. And I was like, great, I'm never going back. I don't want to.
Yeah. Do you know how many times I've lied about being in confession? I shouldn't say that out loud. No, I'm saying it out loud. I mean, a lot of the Catholics I know believe you should go to confession every Saturday before you take Eucharist on Sunday, and then stay in on Saturday so you don't sin. But
like,
yeah,
oh
yeah. How many times like I've just been like, yeah, I confessed. I'll take communion. Some people might be listening to this being like, is that like, some people are listening to this being like, is that always a prereq?
I should have done that.
It's in the rules.
I wish I could.
It's in the rules.
Because can you imagine? It's as crazy as it sounds, guys. Like a 6-year-old walking into a box and not really even understanding the concept of wrongdoing and like guilt and like all of these things. And it's like, no, you have to say every wrong thing that you did.
Yeah, or you can't, or you have to sit while your family walks up on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
You have to
sit
there like you did something wrong. Oh no, that did something to you. That did something there.
Oh my God. And everybody just stares at you and like shakes their head and like,
oh my God.
And the God.
You have like a Protestant cousin who would have to sit there with you on Sundays. Everyone walks by being like, oh, that must be the Protestant cousin, huh?
Yeah, wow. It was rough, man.
You ever seen the movie the Feast of the Seven Fishes?
No, but it sounds amazing.
That is literally my life. If you've seen the movie, I think it's on Amazon. If you've seen the movie Feast of the Seven Fishes with Skylar Gisondo and Joe Pantoliano, that was my life. I was Skylar Gisondo in that movie. Like, literally, he does everything where they're just like, you're bringing a Protestant girl to Christmas Eve dinner. I'm like, oh, no, I saw that.
Oh my God,
I saw that.
Don't at me.
And she's like, I can drive Nona to Christmas Eve mass, and he's like, that's 3 hours. You're stuck with her. She's like, what?
Oh my God. Oh my God. See, now what I'm thinking of. Now I'm picturing your life just like by the only other thing I know the Feast of the Seven Fishes by, which is the bear.
Oh,
Have you
yeah, yeah,
seen the
yeah.
bear?
Which I have not seen. I have not seen, but I heard there is a Feast of the Seven Fishes episode that will give me religious trauma, and I'm
It
kind of
might
avoiding
hurt
it.
you. Yeah. It did hurt me, and I'm not Italian. Dom, like, yeah, it's
But Camille, this is what we're talking about. That it's like Christmas Eve dinner, Christmas Eve all fish because Mary would be upset with you if you had a steak while she was in labor dinner is inextricably linked to my being Italian in a way that like I can't just not go to church on Christmas Eve. I'm Italian. I have to have dinner
yeah.
later. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, exactly. No, 100%. Your life revolves around it. You have to think
Yeah.
ahead about these things.
Yeah.
Like, I remember just being the saddest kid on, like, Lent and stuff because every year, right, for some reason, every year I was like, I'm gonna quit hot Cheetos this year, guys, and you won't even believe it.
That's
You won't
like
even believe it.
that is like the most like little Mexican American child in Lent thing. You're giving up hot Cheetos. Like, what's your biggest vice? Probably red fingers.
It's 100. And would I lose like maybe 24 hours later? Yes. And then get like, a talking to by my aunts and my tias and just like, you ate a hot Cheeto and look at Jesus. Jesus is really upset. And I'm like, okay, you're
One
right.
one year for Lent, my dad and my big brothers always gave up meat, and I
Oh,
was
yeah.
like, I must have been like in fourth or fifth grade. Uh, look up. I played Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time that Easter for the first time. So it was whenever
Oh,
that came out, 98 or something. But I was
oh
like,
my
I'm gonna
God.
be like my dad and my big brothers, and I'm gonna give up meat on Lent, not just Fridays, like every day. I'm gonna
Every day.
no meat for 40 days, and I had smoked Gouda. You know, I still had smoke in my life. I ate a lot of cheese sandwiches. I ate a lot of tuna on Fridays. You know what I
Of
mean?
course.
I could do tuna on Fridays and stuff.
Right.
Um,
Right.
and I made it 40 days no meat as like a 11 or something year old, and I was like so proud, and I felt like so in touch with God, and so like even as a little kid, I just felt like I'm crushing it right now. And
Oh,
then
yeah.
we break our fast on Saturday
Right.
before Easter, like 3 o'clock on Saturday, because according
Right.
to Catholic legend, that is when 3 o'clock is the precise hour where Jesus and the devil are getting in a fist fight over Adam and Eve.
Right.
That
Amen.
also real. There's a Hieronymus Bosch painting about it. But my dad brings out the traditional like Italian break your fast meat pie that I don't know what it's actually called. I just know in like my dad's funny dialect, it's pronounced pizza gain. So my dad
Oh
brings
my
out the
God.
pizza gain, and I'm so excited to have like ham and salami again.
Uh,
You know,
I bet.
I have 2 servings of pizza gain that lunch, and that night
Yeah.
after not eating meat for 4 days and my little preteen stomach having 2 just like solid squares of ricotta and meat, I'm in the top bunk and I get sick all over my brother in the bottom bunk. I like pop out of bed being like, call mom, and I get through that and then just proceed to get like more ill than I've ever been in my life.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
All over
That
my
checks
brother
out.
below me.
You poor little thing.
I know, but
God, like, but you
I
did it,
thought Jesus would notice me, Camille.
and he did,
I
and he
hope
did
so.
that night. You're
It's cool.
hurling
And then
so loud.
then that next day, I was sick and kind of didn't leave the basement. You know, like I barely had dinner. I just kind of sat there in the basement. My cousin brought over Ocarina of Time, and the rest is and then I
Yep.
play Zelda on stream. The rest is history.
The rest is history. You are now on Folkwise.
Yeah,
That's how
yeah.
it connects
That's how.
all
To answer
together.
your original question, how did Folkwise? That's how.
That's crazy, man. So it's been an interesting relationship,
Yeah,
complex, layered,
fraught,
but also constant, right?
fraught and
Like
constant
it's
and
kind of
rewarding. Yeah,
always in your life in that way.
very true.
So who's the beast, Dom?
The beast is like the beast is the last boss of the Bible, Camille. The beast is the coolest, scariest thing. He stands for everything they've been afraid of in that book since since the book of Genesis. He represents all of the evil and all of putting your faith in the wrong stuff. And not only that, but he looks so you have to just describe him, because there's no way a creature could look like that. He is
You have no idea.
indescribable, pure evil, pure human folly, and just the way the Undertaker is for wrestling, the Beast is for the Bible, because you're not going to get out of WrestleMania without having getting choke slammed by the Beast.
I loved The Undertaker. This is great. This is great. I love this lore. See, arguably, Dom, I feel like, to be truthful, if this is how I heard about biblical stories as a kid, maybe I would be a cardinal too. I don't know. I don't know what it would look like right now, but sick. So sick. So then, okay. So before we kind of go into its purpose, right? What does the beast look like?
Oh my God, he's got he looks crazy. He's got like the body of a leopard and the feet of a bear and the head of a lion, and sits on a throne, but also his best friend, the whore of Babylon, gets to ride him, like use him as a mount. He's got like multiple horns and multiple heads and horns and crowns on his heads and horns. He's got he's like an incredible chimera, specifically for everyone who read the whole Bible and is always like me as a child and is always looking for like reading the footnotes and looking for callbacks. He is all three animals that Daniel sees in his vision mashed up into one horrifying soup. He is the grossest, scariest thing, and he is here to signal that the final showdown is approaching, that humanity has put its faith in false empires, kingdoms that are only of this world and not of our Father in heaven. And
Right.
you know that things are getting crazy. You know that Saint Michael is scrambling the archangels in heaven. You know that the Antichrist is at the pulpit. You know that that Satan has emerged like a red dragon upon the earth, and the whore of Babylon is drunk on the blood of the saints, and the beast is the stars are being swiped out of the sky, and the beast is towering over all of this. You can see why I loved the Book of Revelation as a kid. Why always my dad was like, "Yeah, read the Gospels, read Genesis." I'm like, "Oh, read Revelation." That. I'm going right to the end of the book and seeing how it ends.
So how does it end?
With a giant like golden cube, the size of like a continent, where everyone gets to live in paradise for the rest of the time. But before that, bowls, angels, trumpets, things falling from the sky. Actually, can we pull that image I sent you up?
Let's do it.
Okay, so
Dom
this is when I
sent over this. Okay,
I sent over an image. I sent over this is the work of my good friend Dr. Joan Emmy Gaither, who is a quilter in the African American story quilting tradition, and this was this is a quilt she made for an exhibit I curated when I was a folklorist in Maryland. And this is when you edit this, people will be able to see it, right?
Yes, 100%. Please describe it.
This is the Book of Revelation. This is the entire Book of Revelation as a 15-foot tall quilt that you see as being like bolted into the wall and on a pedestal because it's so heavy.
Oh my God.
You see the angels across the top with their lights. You see on the walls, those on the sides, those stars are all the different churches in Asia Minor that were getting addresses in the Book of Revelation. You see, you can see several. Jesus is on his throne in the middle in the New Jerusalem. You can see the beast there. I don't know if you can see him.
Yep.
Yeah, right on Jesus is right there. You can see it says Alpha and Omega. And then the center of this panel, and you see hell at the bottom. The fire is made from like those bags oranges come in. That's what she used to make the fire. You see that?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And then a lot of found objects in there. But this thing in the middle, as you see, it says 476 AD and then 2019 AD. Do you see those two dates?
Yep.
So these panels in the middle are all of Okay, so it's the lyrics of the 12 Days of Christmas. Do you know about like the 12 Days of Christmas lyrics?
No?
They're supposed to be like, it's supposed to be like a mnemonic device to remembering the fruits of the Holy Spirit, the gifts of the Holy Spirit.
No?
It's all like a mnemonic device for church teaching. So like a partridge in a pear tree is Jesus, and like 5 golden rings are like the 5 books of the Torah.
Oh my god.
4 calling birds are like the 4 books of the gospel. It's like a shorthand to like all the things you need to remember if you're like a medieval Catholic, you know?
That is crazy. I didn't know that at
So
all.
it's all of those. There's 3. There's like a depiction. So you see like a pear tree in like
Right?
panel 1, and it'll say
Yeah.
partridge in a pear tree, and then it'll say, it'll have like, it'll say like Jesus, like for represents, and then it'll say like omnipotent power or something, or go to number 2. Go
Okay.
for 2 turtle doves, and it'll say, the Senate, the Emperor, the House, President,
Mhm.
no compromises. So what this is the Book of Revelation, of course, is John the Revelator sending letters to the churches of like Asia Minor, of like Turkey, modern day Turkey and Greece, about the vision he has seen of Rome falling and of
Right.
paradise coming for Christians. And this is my collaborator, my quilting friend Joan, African American woman from Baltimore, doing the same thing, but talking about how the fall of America will come, the fall of the beast, the empire we have placed our faith in foolishly. She has seen the fall of the beast, and she is trying to give it to you in code like the 12 Days of Christmas. So that is what this quilt is, and it is
Mm.
my favorite piece of art I've ever got to associate myself with as a folklorist. There's a Henry Glassy quote that I always love, where he says, I am not an artist. I stand with them in the acts of their creation." And
Hmm.
this is the most I felt like that quote, where I stood with her
Yeah.
in the act of this creation, getting this quote done and installed during COVID. Because like once
Oh my
COVID happened and she saw like the governments of the world being unable to react to a plague, she was like, "I'm finishing the Revelation quote. It's about this is what I've been talking about." You know what I
oh
mean?
my gosh. It's beautiful, Dom. It's so
Don't thank me,
beautiful.
thank Joan.
Thank you, Joan.
Thank you, Joan.
Thank you, Joan. Shout out to Joan. It's gorgeous. And just
Yeah,
so much storytelling. Oh, so much lore. Just in every single piece, every
yeah.
single corner. Oh my gosh. That is fascinating. It is so stunning. It is
And
so I highly gosh,
of
go ahead, go
course,
ahead.
when I saw this, I was like, she went down like breaking everything down, and then I at some point I was just like, I was noticing things before she was saying it, because it was like, it's the Book of Revelation. It's my favorite thing to read as a kid.
Oh my
You know what I
gosh.
mean? I know this. I know this lore. I know this one. If
Yeah.
I'm going to remember anything in
Yeah.
the Bible, it's going to be this particular. It's
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
particular book, and this one really. I mean, it's so profound, but it spoke to me on both like a personal biographical level, and just like being an informed citizen. You know what I
Right?
mean?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
I do. Oh my god, that is wild. So do you have it at your home?
What, this?
Yes.
No, 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 no. It's 15 feet tall, 12 feet wide. Feet.
Where is it then?
Um, I don't know where it is. I think it's probably at her house, but because she like leases
Wow.
it out to museums. You know what I mean?
I love that.
It museums around the East Coast.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
It's stunning. It is I totally thought
she's
like
the
maybe
goat.
you could like own it.
No, no. Oh my god, if I won the lottery, I would talk to her about buying it. But then again, what would I do? Keep it in my house? No.
I know, I know. I know. You just have to make a shrine with it
It's my
outside or
favorite
something.
work of art ever.
It's beautiful. I love it. I
And the
love
quilt is
it.
called "Is History Repeating Itself, or Are We Repeating History?" Parentheses 2020.
Jeez. That's such a frightening but like really powerful concept. Oh my
That's
gosh.
kind of what Revelation, the book of Revelation, is about, though, because it
Yeah,
is all
exactly.
of these images. Even the beast is an amalgamation of all of these monsters from
Yeah.
the Old Testament, but on
Yeah.
on steroids, put together.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
still come back to that book.
Mm.
The everything goes wrong when they say 1,000-year kingdom in that book, and everyone every 1,000 years goes, now today's the day, it's happening. I'm taking
All
that number
right.
literally, brother. But everything, if it's all the monsters Daniel sees in Babylon describing Rome.
Right.
And I think in many ways the beast is the beast is all of the monsters in the world, like, turned into one terrible thing. You know what I mean? Whether
Mm.
she's
Mm.
seeing it and seeing America as a black woman, or if John is seeing it as a first century Jew and seeing Rome, like, he sees the beast and he gives you the number. You know what I mean? He gives you 666, and any Jewish reader at the time would be able to go, that is both beast and Emperor Nero in gematria. You know what I mean?
Mm. Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
he's seeing the world, and how bad it is, and calling it the beast. And Joan is seeing the world, how bad it is, and calling it the beast. And Daniel is seeing the future in the book of Daniel and describing beasts. And I don't know, there's something so powerful about that. And at the same time, they can't, like, but at the same time, like, John can't see the horrors of the world and think of anything outside of Rome. You know what I mean?
Right.
His
No,
his
absolutely.
perception is so locked to, like, the line of
Yeah.
Caesar.
Yeah.
We can see the horrible things outside the world and only see Washington, and only say the beast is Washington. You know what I mean? When,
Mm.
like,
Yeah.
the beast is, we're going to evolve and outlive any calamity, and the next calamity is going to be the beast again. Or
Hmm.
we all die, and the octopi will have their own beast in millions of years. You know what I
Right.
mean? But it
Yeah.
is just
Yeah.
something about, even if you're not religious, you have some sort of spiritual connection, whether it's to nature, whether it's to your friends and family, like the family you've chosen. And just to see this horrible misshapen thing that stands in for all of the governments and all of the empires, thinking they're in charge,
Hmm. Hmm.
always, like, as a kid, just thinking, like, oh, it's a cool 10-headed griffin. And, like, going older and being like, oh, I live inside the 10-headed griffin. John was warning me about it. I too,
Yeah.
like the Whore of
Yeah.
Babylon, ride the back of the 10-headed griffin, this globe bestriding dark colossus. It's
Which
good to
is
remember those things.
frightening. Oh, 100%. 100% it is, to make those connections. It's a crazy parallel. It's so weird. And I'm realizing now, before we go even further with this, Dom, what do you think is a monster?
Well, I mentioned I was a classics major, and I went to Catholic school, and I know too much Latin, more than anyone who did not actually become a priest should know. It is
Sure.
the main flaw of my life is that I learned all this Latin and didn't become a priest. But I'm going to take it back to the word monstrum, which doesn't
Okay.
mean creature, means omen.
Hmm.
So I think a
Yeah.
monster is not just a creature; it's a warning.
Hmm.
It is a creature that brings an omen with it, brings a metaphor that lets you think and talk more deeply about something, rather than
Yeah.
just being like, look at that weird little guy.
Yeah. And that's such a haunting concept, right? But also, omens can be guiding, right? They
Oh yeah,
can be things that tell you be careful, right? In a way.
exactly.
D- And that's beautiful, but also frightening. I mean, like, you can't, they coexist in the same little body.
I think they're sometimes better than just. I will take an omen over a scolding any day. You know.
Hmm, yeah.
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 I
It's
think
hard.
it
They're
sticks
hard,
better. It
but
sticks better. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Okay, so, like, with this, concept of the beast, right? Who is this encapsulation of all of these different creatures and all of these different concepts and all of the things. What are the rules associated with the beast, right? Like, how does it attack? Does it not attack? Does it kill? Does it not kill? How does it exist? How does it go about, right? Like day-to-day life, if you will.
Yeah, what is day-to-day life when you have 10 horns and 7 heads like? You know? Which head is making the decision? Um,
Just curious. Yeah,
what are
exactly that.
what are rules? He gets his authority from the red dragon, from Satan, from his
Yeah,
dad, the devil, from his father,
yeah.
the devil. Um, uh, he like has like the Wolverine healing factor because it says that
Mhm.
like one of his heads appeared mortally wounded and it healed, and
Yeah.
that made people worship the beast even
Mm.
harder. Um, he a very wait, I'm reading here because it's a very specific number.
Do it. Go
42,
for it.
one of those very specific numbers in the Bible, 42, goes for 32 months given or 42 months given a mouth to speak and give his blasphemies before God. So he's this big titanic seven-headed horned crowned snarling bear leopard lion who you cannot kill, and he just spends all his days towering over the earth talking shit at God. And that
Yeah.
just demoralizes the people, like the people left on earth for the apocalypse will see that and say who is the beast and who can wage war against it. And you feel that, right? That you're
Mm.
like, I get it's wrong, but I can't kill it. Like, who am I? Who am I to join God, like God's army, whether it's God or whether it's whatever cause? Sometimes you see what you're up against and go,
Oh
well,
yeah.
I can't scratch that. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Who
Yeah.
who is like the beast? Who can wage war against that? You know what I mean?
Right. Right. It's hard to wrap your head around.
That's true.
Totally. How would one defeat the beast? How does one?
Um, how does one defeat the beast? Angels. You gotta get with the Lord, the blood of the Lamb. The slain
Yeah.
Lamb himself, Jesus. The
Yes.
only uh like they end up defeating the beast and the antichrist and the dragon and the harlot and all of that by all getting in line with God and joining his heavenly host. And
Mm.
there's a lot of they always like they're always referring to Jesus as like the lamb or the slain lamb or whatever like the translation is. And that is to say
Right.
that uh other than going back to like the Catholicism was my first foray into the spooky, because it's like, okay, we tried to sacrifice this animal and he just keeps coming back covered in his own blood and he won't be stopped, you know.
Yeah.
But that is to
Yeah.
say, like the only thing that stops the earthly kingdoms, these unstoppable juggernauts that will crush everything and demoralize you, is like true selflessness.
Mm.
Is Jesus a king who will die for his people, who will like,
Mm.
because think about that, if you're like in like classical like Europe or Asia,
Sure.
you've seen armies march, you've seen the kings at the back of their army with their standards and their hosts and their tents. They're never in battle, but the
Mm.
guy who's going to take on all of the baddies, the dark alliance of the book of Revelation, is Jesus. Jesus is not a bigger beast. He is not a cooler dragon. He's not the white dragon. He is
Mm.
the lamb. The only like it's selflessness that takes on, it's sacrifice that
Yeah.
takes on
Yeah.
these powers. You have to be willing. You have to be like as virtuous as a king who is willing to die for his own people, which
Mm.
like kings don't do that. They stay in the back of the army and they show up when it's time to get kneeled to. But
Yeah.
not this army in Revolution, not the heavenly host, not all the angels and saints. Uh they're following Jesus, who allowed himself to be the one getting sacrificed. It was no longer
Mm.
God saying to Abraham, kill Isaac and we'll be fine. Oh, don't worry. The fact that you were ready to do it like was proof enough. No, this
Right.
is now God has learned from all of human history and saying, I have to like become incarnate on earth and be the first one willing to die if they're ever going to get their act together and join me in fighting evil. And all of these things are like, not like I take the Bible literally anymore, not like I am a priest, but there's lessons to be learned from that, right? There's
Sure,
lessons to
of
be learned from
course. Right. Big question here. But I'm curious on your viewpoint. Like, what are your thoughts between this idea of virtuousness and this idea of good and evil, right?
that.
It's
Oh my,
complicated. It's hard.
complicated, but I don't know. I don't think you can decide to do evil in a split second.
Hmm.
I think like real evil that you can do is little choices you are making every day. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
and I think most people do not make those little decisions every day. Most people are not on a slow decline into evil. Most people are making. Yeah, I will unwire the Catholic program and say most people are doing good every day. The Catholic in me would be like most people are unwillingly being neutral.
Unwillingly being neutral. It's, I don't know. I mean, that's intertwined and woven into so many biblical stories
That's
and
right.
just religions and things of that nature. And it's so easy to focus, I think, on this concept of evil and bad and wrong. Um, and that weighs on you. I think
Mhm.
that's a very big forefront in your mind growing up. At least I'm sure you can relate, Dom, right? Like in the world of Catholicism
Yeah,
sometimes.
yeah. I think it's not like the people. This is not the mark of the beast. Is more the second beast, aka the Antichrist thing. But I'll get into it. It's not like you wake up one day and oh no, I've got a 666 on my forehead.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the people who like willingly in the book of Revelation or in real life allegorically who willingly wear the mark of the beast on their forehead did not decide that overnight.
Hmm. It takes time.
It takes time and it's deliberate.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. 100%. It's a choice. So talk to me about the Antichrist. Talk to me about that.
Oh my god, the rest of the gang, the Antichrist, not called in many translations not called the Antichrist, but it's kind of like his uh it's more of like a religious it's a religious folklore thing that uh
Yeah.
the next beast would be the Antichrist. And he's the if the beast is if our beast, our big guy, is just a
Hmm.
real shit talker who can heal from any wound and tell you about how much God sucks. But he's a lot of talk. You know, he's a lot
Yeah.
of he's a lot of posture. The
Mm.
Antichrist, the beast who comes after him, is going to be very persuasive, and that is to say, you're going to have a monster that stands in for the uh, the institutions, the towering institutions that loom over the world that everyone knows are bad, but you can't do anything about. You will have the charismatic guy who comes after and says, "I know it's bad, but I can get us out of it. You just need to believe in
Mm.
only me." You know what I mean?
Hmm.
The
Yes.
always that guy. And who else is on the team? Our girl Babylon the Great, the mother of prostitutes and
Mm.
all
Yep.
abominations of the earth,
Yep.
drunk on saints' blood. Those like I said, evil isn't like a one-time deal. Evil is a choice. You have to little baby steps of evil that you make every day. And I think that's kind of her thing, right? Like how how drunk do you need to be on a daily basis where the only thing that gets you high anymore is saint's blood? You know what I mean? Girl
Right.
has a
Woo.
problem, but she has nowhere else to go.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
and
Yeah.
and then of course their big boss, the one who made all their thrones, the guy pulling all the strings, the red dragon. The thing I love about Revelation is that like and you know there are like folkloric reasons for this because the Bible was written at several times and then like assembled in lore chronological order, even if it was not the order it was written in. And so like
Yeah.
characters will come and go, chief among them Satan, who kind of drops in and out of the story and is not always the antagonist, But I love that he shows up in Adam and Eve's story, and he comes back as a big ass red dragon at the very end, being like, "It's always been me. You saw me in Genesis, you saw me in Job, you saw me in the desert tempting Jesus, and I'm back for the last level."
Tom, you know what this reminds me of? And I don't know why I've never made this connection. Okay, have you seen any of the Puss in Boots films?
No, I've seen Shrek 1, 2, and 3, but I have
Which,
not
of
seen
course, you
either of the
have.
Puss in Boots. Either of
The
the Puss
Holy
in Boots.
Trinity.
Yeah, yes, seen the Holy,
There's a scene
the Holy Trinity.
I feel like you would really the Puss in Boots movies slap, okay, everybody. They are so funny. And I believe it's the second one. Maybe it's I don't remember. But Zach Galifianakis, I believe, plays Humpty Dumpty. If I'm
Perfect
not
casting.
mistaken.
Perfect casting.
And this is a little bit of a spoiler. I hope that's okay, Dom. But
you can spoil the Puss in Boots movie. I'm sure it's the experience, not the ending.
that's true. But basically there's like this reveal, right? We all know that Humpty Dumpty's bad. Like the audience knows like, oh, he's bad news, right? But obviously Puss in Boots doesn't. And then at the end, there's this moment where Humpty Dumpty comes out, right? And he's like, "It's always been me." And then there's a montage of him just standing there and behind like every single scene. He's just like in every single scene in stupid outfits, in stupid costumes. He's a tree, I think, at one point. Like, it's so stupid and hilarious. But that's kind of Satan. In this context, and that's how I view
In
it.
the context of like the Christian understanding of the Bible, of especially the Old Testament, you know, because
Right.
like so many of those are just like God hardened the Pharaoh's heart. You know, it's like, God, why would you do that? Are you standing in Moses's way? And then like now you learn about it and be like, oh no. Like the Catholic way of saying that, like, oh no, the all the Egyptian gods were Satan. You know,
Oh,
it
yeah.
wasn't God hardening Pharaoh's heart. It was the Pharaoh was worshiping Satan. And it was just
Yeah.
like, was he there the whole time, or did you retcon that in?
Retcon. Dead. It's so crazy. That's so crazy. Oh my god. Oh my god. What a crew.
Oh, the
What a crew.
Revelation gang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that what you mean? Well, and I'd like you to explain more when we were talking about this. But like that villains have more fun? What do you
Oh,
mean?
what do I mean? Villains have more fun. I think that's why I was like, oh, I'm going for the Beast.
Yeah.
Villains have more fun because, like, okay, I've spent this whole time talking about how like evil is is the sum of many little choices you make over and over again, until the only, to mix metaphors, until the only thing that gets you drunk anymore is Saint's blood. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's little choices you have to make every day.
Hmm.
And that's the reality of evil. You know what I mean? But like for someone who for most people out there who are not evil, that are good, and they just see the villain at the end point of their lifelong descent into evil, and you're just like, but it looks like they're having a fun fucking day. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Yes.
If you were to go from 0 to last boss evil, it would just, it
Yeah.
would be a fun afternoon without the agony and the compromise and the terrible choices you make day by day. But if you're just able to like sit there and read about the exploits of someone who has gone full evil, you would be like, now that seems like a fun afternoon. I would love
Oh
a
yeah.
ride. I would love a ride on a giant 10-headed shit talking leopard while I'm
Yeah.
while I'm high on blood. Why am I the harlot of Babylon in this scenario? Because I
I
guess
loved it.
she's
I
having so
love
much
that.
fun. They're all having
Period.
so much fun being
Yeah.
evil and forsaking God. They all
Yeah.
lose, but it like
Yeah.
it makes you think like, was it what it was good while it lasted, but it was the wrong choice in the end, and it makes me kind of sit there just being like, well, damn, they went out having a great day before, you know, they got like wiped from existence and replaced by a heavenly kingdom on earth. They backed the wrong horse, but they had fun doing it. So I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
to just relate to evil without having to do it is fun. You know what I mean?
And I feel like just us as humans do, because we are layered just like they are, and we make mistakes just like they do.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, right, like that's the whole point of the show too, is that for most of us, I think we only see ourselves represented when we see a villain pop up on screen or read about one in a book or hear about one at church, right? Like, and it can be frightening and it can be really scary to be like, oh no, like, what if I think that way sometimes? Or what if I do this? Or if I look like that? Or, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's just human nature to be like, I am fascinated by you. I am really interested in how you function on a day to day and like your backstory. And I mean, right? Like,
Yeah.
and I think
Can
of
you
like,
imagine? Can you imagine that kind of life not being like crippled by self doubt and choked by second guessing yourself and just saying like feels good doing it until you are a monster of your own creation. Can you imagine how freeing that would be until you were backed in a corner? You know?
no, truly, there is that sense of
Yeah.
freedom. You can't deny that. You cannot deny that.
Because like all of the good guys in this book, all the good guys in the book of Revelation, like whether they're in God's army, whether they're archangels, they all have stifling day jobs, right?
Oh,
You did not want to be a foot soldier in ancient like ancient Rome. What a bad what a bad life.
no.
You do that
Yeah.
so you can get a farm when you're out. But like, damn,
Yeah.
they're working stiffs.
My God.
The beast gets to shit talk God and say stuff like live by the sword, die by the sword.
Yeah.
The harlot of Babylon is like it is like an iconic girl failure. The Antichrist is
Oh, yeah.
is suave on the surface. They're
Oh,
not
yeah.
they're not a nameless army of working stiffs marching into war, not taking breaks. The only
Right.
like hygiene thing they have is their sponge, their sea
Yeah.
sponge that is like, here's your washcloth and your deodorant and everything. You know what I mean? They
Yeah.
they chose they short-sightedly chose a life of fun.
Hmm. Fun. That's so interesting. That is
Yeah.
so interesting. Have you seen any iterations of the Beast in pop culture
If I
or in
see
like other
any
ways?
scene,
Seen, heard, listened?
can it be heard?
Of course. Of course.
Let me tell you a very important moment in my teenage years
Okay.
was here the first time I heard the Iron Maiden song Number of the Beast. That was that was an eye-opening, ear-opening experience once I realized like oh, they're literally talking about the guy. They're literally
Yeah.
talking about the big guy I always thought was like a fascinating image as a kid. It's like this,
Yeah.
there's like a minute and a half long guitar solo. Bruce from Iron Maiden is like squealing at the top of his lungs. He's like, the song starts. I was gonna say the song starts with no. It's the third thing that happens, because first there's like a spooky narrator, and then it like builds up. It's like, I lived alone, my mind was blank, very hushed tones.
Yeah.
Until like finally when the guitars come in, and it's just like Bruce holding a high note, just screeching in terror, and you're just like, a man can make a noise that high, and B, like, are we singing about the Bible? Is this a metal song about the Bible?
That's exactly what it is.
And I can remember the first time I heard Number of the Beast, I was like, this is the coolest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I could, this is some weird synesthesia thing, but like, I can remember reading the book of Revelation and picturing how purple it was in my head. Like picturing how like twilight and dusky and
Oh, yes.
like there's so much night sky in that book. There's so much stars being knocked out of the night sky. And I just always picture it this sort of like twilight, in like a twilight struggle. It literally is the twilight struggle of the Bible. So I always like read it and pictured these rich violets and purples and lapis and all of these like dark colors. And the first time I heard Number of the Beast, I remember hearing it in the same shades of purple. as when I
Yeah.
read it. That's the weirdest thing that no one's going to be able to relate to, but I'm telling you, it was
I love
a
it.
dark purple epic.
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah,
That's I love how visceral this character is for you.
he is.
You know?
He really is.
So why do you think, Dom, that the Beast has become such a forefront in your life? Why do you think he keeps coming back, right? He's there. You go to him. Why is that?
I think it's like the depth of this omen, of this metaphor, uh the depth of this character, that um so this man John
Mhm.
has a vision, either depending on how you're believing it, either God puts it in his head, or either or either he has like a allegory to speak to his people with. But
Yeah.
regardless, John comes up with this image, and on but just how, the more you think about it, the more it opens, it's like this tortured, it's this torturous, unknowable, like, shape, even
Yeah.
like, even him as like a monster, like how you describe him, he's like, okay, imagine three animals and seven guys, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but the harder you stare at it, it makes more and more sense the harder you think about it, which I
Mm.
think is the thing I always appreciated about, like, this character, or this metaphor, this idea of the beast, that you can be like, okay, it's scary claws and too many heads, or you can be like, oh, it's all of the book of Daniel if it happened at once, or you can be like, it's Rome, it's Nero,
Mm.
or you can be like Joan did, like, it's America, it's every oppressive government that thinks it's like holier than thou,
Yeah.
it's it's uh it's I don't know, the harder you think about it, the more personal it gets. Because, like, what am I gonna like would it really resonate with me if you were just gonna be like, oh yeah, but they say, like, the beast's name is 666, so it's like the Emperor Nero, and it's about, like, the hunting of Christians in the Roman Empire. Okay, but it doesn't stop there, and that's not why I love it.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
because we wouldn't have kept it in the Bible. We wouldn't
Right.
have, there's lots of stuff we took out of the Bible, and we wouldn't have kept lots of cool monster stuff we cut out of the Bible. But we wouldn't have kept it in the Bible if it wasn't going to be universal. I think a thing
Right.
about mythology that I love so much, just like myth as a genre of folklore,
Yeah.
is that they all end but they all end at its beginning. You know what I mean? So, like, I know people talk about, like, Ragnarok, like the great example, like the Norse myths end with all the gods dying and the
Yeah.
first man and first woman walking out of the tree again, like it was in the beginning, and people take the book of Revelation and take the beast and be like, who is going to be our ultimate enemy? And I'm like, no, look past that. It's myth. Look past that. It's that the Bible ends with paradise on earth. The Bible ends with, like, it took us a while, but Eden happened again,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
guess what we had to do? Like, break the devil's back again. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like, we
Mm.
promised Eve we'd be stepping on this guy. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And
Yeah.
I'm
I
just
do.
thinking of, like, the image of the famous Catholic art of Michael, Saint Michael the
Right.
Archangel, with his
Right.
foot on the devil's back. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah. Oh
But it's
yeah.
like, it's the thing I love about the ends of mythic cycles is that, like, and then it starts over again, and then we're
Yeah.
back in paradise, and John can't John the the prophet, the revelator, can't imagine an end of the world past Rome ending, but he knows to anticipate paradise You know what I mean? So it's like
Yeah.
past whatever is ruining the world. Know that the end will come. Know that it's going to get harder. Know that stars will fall out of the sky and large percentages of people will burn. But know that's where paradise comes back.
Hmm.
Because I don't know, like I this is like a faith I still have, that like it's cyclical, and there will always be
Hmm.
there will always be like violence. There will always be like a terrible end of something, and everybody in the world has always believed that then you get to start over at paradise. You know,
Yeah.
I understand
Yeah.
it's a way of like contextualizing your own sorrow and the things you have to bear, and the things that humans do to the world, divorced from the divine or from nature or whatever. But you got to stick together, and you got to be selfless, because paradise comes later, because New Jerusalem comes to earth and replaces Eden, because because man emerges out of the tree again in the Norse. I mean, like there's like in the Babylonian myths, there's like a guy that like that there's like a guy that like Gilgamesh meets, right? Who's just like, oh yeah, I'm from the previous Earth. Like
Right.
I've seen the world end and start over again. You
Oh,
know what I
yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Like that
Yeah.
everyone around the world has their own way of expressing the understanding. Hold on. And I think what has connected me, not connected me to the beast. No,
Sweats.
what has fascinated me with the beast is that like he is this indescribable horror of all the things that can and do and always go wrong when you let humans be in charge. And the point is, be selfless, hold on, we're in this together. And that's why I've just always loved him as the final boss of Christianity, and like an omen of what awaits humanity, both suffering, both indefeatable colossal beasts that you think I should just get on the same side as because I can't stop it. But like every culture in the world has found a way to express it, like just hold on, even if it looks hopeless. And that's what I think what makes the beast stand out in my head is my favorite monster.
That's wicked. That's really cool. And I also love how your folklorist is showing so much with like metaphor and ritual and pattern, and
Yeah.
it's all part of you. It's all a part of you. In the same vein, do you think the beast is scary?
Yeah. The beast scares me. But
Yeah.
like I said earlier, the scariest thing about the beast is that everyone learns to give up. Everyone learns to give up, and some people even get a ride. You know what I mean? But they see the horrors the beast can do, and the shit he can shit talk. I love him because he just like he has a big mouth. I mean,
Of
he
course.
has 7 of them, but he like every time he like does something, he always like says a quip, and God gets upset. You know. But they see the beast, how big he is, how strong he is, how much of a mouth he has on him, and they and people just go, what am I going to do?
Right.
I give up. That's the scariest thing about it. How many people give up in the face of the beast?
Yeah. It's powerful.
It is.
Do you think the beast is a monster?
I think he's the monster. I think
The
he's
monster.
the guy. I don't know. To me, in my life, he's been the monster.
Yeah.
But I think he's a monster. He's a creature.
Yeah.
He's a metaphor. He's he's part of like a super group of villainy. I love it.
It's amazing. Yeah. No, it really is. It really is. And I think it's very powerful too, Dom. You know, not that you said that this was, you know, but like very much so, he was one of the first monsters you've ever heard about.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty insane. Right? Like that's a crazy concept. And he stuck with you for this long.
It's kind of the coolest parts of the Bible are like how it's going to pay off later in life. It's like, what's the first monster you heard of as a child? The tendency for humans to create empires and disrespect everything and everyone around them. You know what I mean?
Just my normal 7-year-old life. Nothing.
But like I had that in my head since I was 7, and now
Yeah.
I'm like, I see the world, and I go like, oh, I get what John saw. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's woo. The roots are thick. They're
Yeah.
deep.
His big bear paws that he
His
stands
big
on.
mouth. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So Dom, why do you think monsters are important?
I want to just be like, because they can say shit, but I don't know how to say that like a folklorist. Yeah, because you can they say like a picture's worth 1,000 words. I think a description of a monster is worth 1,000,000 scoldings. You know what I'm saying? To create
Yeah.
this image of the beast that towers over the world and talks shit at God and forces people to give up is better than any lecture you could get about being a good person to me. Or about how like, oh yeah, and like power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely, like stay blah blah blah. I don't know. In my head, I'm just always like, no, I know, live by the sword, die by the sword. The beast told me that when I was 7, you know?
Oh no, Dom, I think you froze.
Okay. Hey chat. For everyone who is still watching, I'm trying to get a hold of Camille. Live by the internet, die by the internet. That's what I'm saying. Dramatic trumpets, y'all. All these seductive photographs, all these one-off vacations. Oh, that's a Drake song, isn't it? Oh, fuck. Not in my house. This is my fight stick. Here, I can show this off. This is my fight stick. I built this. It's got Zangief and Army. Oh, hi, I'm talking to chat. Don't worry about me.
Are you really talking to chat?
I just kind of no. I just the second I saw the email, like it's a reconnecting issue. I'm like, oh, I should say something. I did dramatic music. I bided my time.
And it said it was still recording.
Yeah, it's still recording.
Right? You have it on yours? Okay.
I have it on mine.
This is
The
so
line
weird,
kept moving
Dom.
for me. The line kept moving for me.
I don't know what happened. So
Are you getting storms like we got?
You know what we did? Today
Yeah.
is a nice day though. I don't know.
Weird. Yeah, that'll happen.
Thank you for talking to everyone.
I tried to do something.
I am so thankful. Oh my god. Okay, well the last thing that I had just asked you.
Yes.
Why are monsters important?
I talked for a while. Before I realized you weren't moving.
I'm so mad and I want to But can you, I'm gonna probably use it anyway, but can you like wrap that up in a pretty bow really quick just so that I can hear it in real life and in person, please?
Oh my god, yeah. Oh god, okay. Caveat being whatever I said the first time was way better. But why are monsters important? Because like because you can only be told something is bad, or you can only be warned or like lectured at about why something is bad. You have to really be in the right place to receive that, you know?
Yeah.
If you create a fascinating image in someone's head, it'll stick with them longer. It like, I don't know, I learned God, you'll be able to go back and see what I said, right?
No, I will. I'm hoping.
It's so much better.
No, and I felt it, and you said so many brilliant things before we disconnected, and I know Maybe the Beast was just mad that we were talking about it. I hope it
Maybe
was pleased.
maybe
I don't know.
Iron Maiden was mad that we didn't clear that sample.
Damn it. Damn it. It's fine. It's okay. Okay, Dom. So my biggest, unfortunately, concluding this awesome interview, because I know we could probably talk about 15 other things, other monsters,
could.
other demons, our own Catholic guilt and shame.
We've
for
only really
hours.
gotten into like we've only summarized like 3 chapters of Revelation, by the way.
That's it.
That's
it.
Chat, audience, floaties. I can't say chat when there's not an audience. Fuck. But
That's okay.
listeners, can you believe we've been doing this for 2 hours and the words 4 horsemen have not been said yet?
That is true.
Yeah, that is true. There's a lot in that book.
I don't remember if I've told you this, but like my cohort that graduated in 2020 or 2021 from the master's program that did our master's through the pandemic, that's Ellie Dassler, right? Azadeh Najafian and Taylor Burden. We always
that murderer's row right there. Damn.
We're the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. That's
Except
what we call
it was during COVID, so you're all pestilence. Or you're like plague, and plague.
Here we
Which
are.
one of us gets to be war? We're all plagues.
All of it. Sorry. Yeah, literally. But say, okay, you're just chilling. It's a Saturday, maybe Saturday evening. You're chilling in your new home in Florida.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you get a knock at the door. You open it, and it's the Beast. What would you do?
Get a Mr. Clean magic eraser and just scrub my forehead clean because I don't want any series of numbers appearing.
Okay.
What do I do? Shit, I don't know. Get right with Jesus. See if St. Michael is around. Maybe God, I know I would probably do something, and then for days later, like every shower I took for the next week, I'd be sitting there like, you could have talked shit back to him, You could have had a comeback. He's got all those witty comebacks. You have comebacks, I would have been sitting there every night before I go to sleep, like watching TikTok and being like, God, you really had nothing for live by the sword, die by the sword. You really let him burn you like that? Come on.
Weak.
Yeah,
Dom.
weak. But you can't do it on your own. You can't survive the apocalypse on your own.
Oh no. Let me tell you though, I would pay millions to watch that sitcom though, of you and the Beast. He's your new neighbor. I'd watch it.
Oh my god. My neighbor the Beast would be so frustrating.
And if that's not a chapter in your autobiography, Dom, and I don't get credit for it, I'll be pissed.
Like, can you imagine just like he rolls up in some new kind of like SUV that we didn't even know about yet. He's like, yeah, it's a Chevy Escalade that runs on baby's blood. And you'd be like, how can you afford this? And you'd be like, military contracts in the Horn of Africa? What? You have a 9-to-5 job, you loser?
Loser.
Like, I could have had a comeback for that. Damn, he's such a good shit talker.
That's incredible. And I feel like a very Dom way of handling the situation. I think that's great.
What? Sitting there and regretting I didn't have a zinger for the Beast?
A zinger. Exactly that, though. A zinger.
A zinger. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's amazing. That's amazing, Dom.
Oh, damn! Put me in a roast battle with a blasphemer.
Iron Maiden playing in the background.
That's just the guitar solo.
Exactly that. And you're dressed in cardinal attire, though. I think.
Oh no! I'm not about that life anymore.
No more.
I'm dressed in a tracksuit that looks like the Bi flag.
That's freaking iconic.
Well, actually, I'm going to do a cursory Google search to see. Hold on.
Link in the description.
Link in bio.
This episode of Floaties for Krakens was written and recorded by me, Camille Maria Acosta. A monstrous thank you to Dom Tartaglia for such a sick interview. A big thank you to Michael Kosman for producing a stellar episode, and a huge thank you to Natalie Hedberg for designing such a phenomenal logo. And music for the show was also written and produced by me, with a special appearance by my tata, Toby Acosta. Thank you all so much for tuning into today's show. It truly means everything to me. If you have questions or curiosities about the research or media referenced in this episode, everything will hopefully be in the description box. And you can find us on our website and our socials, links in the description as well. Anyway, thanks again for being here, everyone. And just a reminder, it's okay to be afraid of the monster, but it's also okay to love the heck out of it too. Keep being monstrous and keep shining bright.